Welcome back. My name is Christina. And this is tea time. Today, I am going to read to you a, a piece of Sabrina Ocean's Chronicles. And I believe I said this in the last video that what I share or have shared so far about Sabrina has only been such a small percentage. And when I go back over my notes or my post, the few posts that I have sent out about Sabrina, I know now more than ever I've made the right decision to take a pause with writing about Sabrina and sharing it on Substack. So consistency, because it doesn't give the character enough time, and it doesn't give me enough time to process, because there's so much that I want to share with you from a different perspective, to which 2026 will reflect that. So I will be deep diving into the sacred contracts from Caroline Myss and the archetypes, among many other things. And it's been a part of my journey all my life. And you'll soon see that it's part of yours if you continue on this path with me over the next year. So I'm starting out with The Forest of Becoming, which is chapter 1, The Threshold, which is in the hero's journey, is part of, it's one of the many different experiences that you go through. And this is all ties in together with the theme for next year. So I want to read this to you. This is the, if you were to put it into archetypes, it would be the invisible child, the magical child, and you can name some more archetypes once you read it yourself. So sit back, relax, have a cup of tea, and enjoy. And it's not perfect, but I do want to share it with you. And that's the goal for me, is I don't want to be perfect. That's too much responsibility. I just want to share with you what comes to me and the expression. So, to imperfectionism, here we go. The Forest of Becoming, Chapter 1, The Threshold. Sabrina had followed the map from the cliffs where the sea carved secrets into stone to the square where Eva's final message shimmered like moonlight on glass. The chapel, the voice, and the box. 3 words had begun the unraveling. You are ready. Now Sabrina stood where ink met earth, where memory became landscape. Not silent, but listening. The garden had gone still. Not silent, but listening. Lanterns swayed in the warm breath of night, casting long shadows against the walls, and once painted with climbing vines and old symbols. Somewhere in the distance, laughter from the festival still lingered, but here, inside the courtyard, time slowed like breath between heartbeats. Sabrina stood at the edge of the overgrown path, the map from the copper box open in her hands. By the light of a single flame, she retraced the inked lines, watercolor paths coiling like veins through the estate, ending at a gate that shouldn't exist. But it did. It waited now, half covered in wildflowers and thorn vines that had no name, a place that had been hidden until she was ready to remember. Sabrina, came a voice behind her, low and steady. It was Maria, wrapped in a shawl the color of garnet earth. her hair woven with red thread and what looked like dried gardenia petals. She held out her hand, in her palm a small stone bowl filled with dark, fragrant paste. From the land, black olive ash, myrrh, and violet. Mark your face, Sabrina. One line down the center of the forehead and one across the heart. It is how we tell the spirit world you come in peace and with purpose. Sabrina dipped her fingers into the mixture. It was warm and smelled of crushed thyme, something both ancient and intensely personal. She followed Maria's instructions. Her breath quickened, not from fear, but from remembering. This ritual, Sabrina said softly, and Maria nodded. Yes, it's not for them, Sabrina. It's for you. To remember you are more than what was done to you. You are what you choose now. The words stirred something deep and aching into her chest. Sabrina looked once more at the garden gate and its twisted ironwork. She saw the shape of a spiral, the same as a key, the journal, the seal Eva used on every letter, a sacred geometry, a return. With the pendant warm against her heart, she stepped forward. The gate opened on its own into the forest. At first, it was just more garden, tangled, dense, unkept. But as she walked, the ground grew damp beneath her feet, and the air shifted, cooler, heavier, threaded with the scent of wet stone and fern, something sweet and sharp like bruised citrus peel. The trees grew taller, older, unfamiliar. The night deepened into something more than night. It became presence. Behind her, Maria had not followed, and the garden was gone. She was alone, or almost alone. A sound like breath. No, not breath. Weeping. Somewhere ahead, behind a curtain of low-hanging limbs, Sabrina heard a small voice, too soft to be anyone grown, and too raw to be anything but real. She followed it, heart pounding, not from fear, but instinct. There, on a patch of moss lit by starlight that seemed to shine from nowhere, sat a child, no older than 8, bare feet, scraped knees, shoulders trembling beneath a threadbare cardigan. The child didn't look up. Sabrina's knees nearly gave because she knew that cardigan. She knew those bare, dirt-smeared feet and the pale scar above the brow. It was her. Was this a memory? A vision? A dream? It was the girl she had been, still lost in the place where the pain first entered. She was the little girl in the moss. Sabrina stepped forward, one foot into the moss, and the other still caught in the pool of hesitation. The girl didn't move. She sat curled inward, thin arms wrapped around her knees, face hidden. Even in silence, Sabrina could hear the ache inside her, centuries deep. Not just a memory, but an echo carried through her bones. The girl was weeping with the kind of sorrow that happens when a child learns too soon that love can vanish, that safety is conditional, and that her voice means nothing. Sabrina swallowed, with the lump in her throat held. She began to kneel. The moss was damp and cold beneath her knees. She reached out slowly, careful not to touch, just to be near. I remember you, she said, her voice cracked, not from fragility, but from truth, unspoken too long. You used to sleep with the light on and your shoes by the door in case you had to run. The child flinched. I remember the way he'd speak softly before the storm, Sabrina continued. how you disappeared inside your body, how you learned to float above it. You thought that it was your fault, that you were too much or not enough. The girl began to stir slightly, not to face her, but to listen. You tried to be small, Sabrina whispered. You thought if you were quiet, good, invisible, it would stop. You protected everyone but yourself. A breath, shaky, trembling, inhale from the child. Sabrina's hands hovered. You can look at me. I won't turn away. And slowly the girl lifted her head. Her eyes were wide, wet, ringed in shadow, but behind them fire. The early light of defiance, the first spark of the woman Sabrina would become. I was alone, the girl said. Her voice was hoarse but steady. You weren't supposed to be, Sabrina said, and it wasn't your job to survive what no one protected you from. The girl's chin quivered. I forgot how to ask for help. I know, Sabrina said, but I'm here now. I remember for both of us. Silence again, but not empty, thick with sacred tension of witnessing. And then Sabrina did something she'd never done, not in memory, not in dreams. She held her. She opened her arms, and the girl climbed into them, tense at first, shaking, and then finally releasing the sob of years, the kind that split sound from soul. Sabrina held her through it, forehead pressed to brow, as if to say, I have you now. You no longer have to carry this alone. The scent of gardenia rose from nowhere, sweet, heavy, impossible to ignore. Sabrina closed her eyes, and she felt Eva's presence move through the trees like moonlight. And then a voice. You found her, came a voice. Maria's, but far away like thunder on the other side of a dream. The girl in her arms shimmered, not fading, but merging, becoming light, becoming memory rewritten. And then silence. Not absence, but peace. The return. Sabrina stood alone again in the forest, but something in her body was different. It was lighter and stronger. Her hands no longer trembled. Her breath was steady. Yet a soft sound behind her, a soft rustle like silk over stone. She turned around, and there by the roots of an enormous tree sat Audrey, Eva's white Persian cat, her fur glowing faintly under the astral light. Audrey blinked once, slowly, then stood there, and then slowly began walking away as if to witness the event as confirmation of what's to come. As Audrey slowly walked away, Sabrina followed, step by step. The trees thinned, the moss receded, and the air grew warmer. She was walking back, not out of a dream, but into her body, into the present, carrying more than she had ever dared before. She emerged through the hidden gate, back into the garden. The lanterns around town were out now. Only the stars remained. That is to be continued. So the reflection is, what part of you is finally ready to come home? Home to where you really confront the shadows, where you're no longer afraid to look. And I ask that this story guide you back to your own becoming. What Sabrina encountered in the forest was not just her younger self, it was part of her soul that had never stopped crying, never stopped waiting to be seen. to be held, to be believed. And now the map has changed. The key was no longer just a tool. And the pendant she holds began to pulse softly. It was a connection to all things that were going to be possible for her. And Sabrina has so much that's going to unfold. And I want to give it space. And so moving forward, I will dive deep into the archives and I will begin to bring out little by little to create audio versions of the chapters. And in time, they will be expanded. So I want to get it to where we can weave it in and out and give her time to process this journey. So thank you for this time. I'm honored that you took the time to listen or to watch. And I wish you the best day, the best week ever. And know that you are worthy and you should be heard and you should be seen. And you have one voice, so say something. So until we meet again next week, may you stand strong and be courageous